Hey everyone, Cody from Mactelecom Networks. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the successor of one of my favorite outdoor access points, and a lot of people have been asking for it. This access point does mesh, and it does come with a bunch of upgrades to the antenna design. This access point is the U7 Mesh. The U7 Mesh has the same design as the U6 Mesh, so it's like that slim Coke can, which is really nice. And yes, this can go outside and has a bunch of different mounting options. This is an omnidirectional access point, but it does have a new precision long-range directional beam. So this could result into 3 times extended reach for high-performance mesh deployments. We're going to show this off connected with a wire, and then I'm going to mesh it to one of my APs downstairs to see the speeds that we're going to get. The U7 Mesh comes in at $199 USD. Now let's take a closer look at the access point and then get it adopted into the UniFi network application. And this is the U7 Mesh. If you've ever used the U6 Mesh, it is the same design. On the top, we have our Ubiquiti logo, and then we have the LED ring, which is either going to be white or blue when it's adopted. It does look like one of those slim Coke cans, and there's different mounting options that we have with this. I'm going to be using it in this office just sitting on a tabletop, so that I have Wi-Fi in this office because I took the access point off my roof. So we're going to be testing this out for quite a while, and then when it comes in the summer, we're going to do some more extensive mesh testing with it. On the inside of the access point, we have our reset button, and then we have our Ethernet port, which is 2.5 gigabit per second, and this is powered by PoE. The U7 Mesh comes with a couple different mounting options. So this one right here would be used either for a pole, or you could mount it onto, say, the side of your house. Then we have this one right here, which would be used for your tabletop. If you're going to be using this as an outdoor AP, you want to make sure that the grommet is on properly, and the grommet is in below here, so let's pop that out. You most likely won't need to take the grommet out. You could probably just push the cable through the cable gland, but that's how it does come out. You just push it out, and then it's going to place back on. So if you are doing it outside, make sure that's on so you don't get any moisture inside of the Ethernet port. Let's now get the U7 Mesh adopted within the UniFi network application, and I got my trusty helper Mocha right with me. So what I'm going to do, I have a cable right here that is plugged into one of my switches downstairs. We do have the end cap, but first I'm just going to plug this into the Ethernet connection. There is a small little slot on the bottom of the U7 Mesh that we're going to just place the wire to put the end cap on. All right, and now you can see, or you may not be able to see, but this is flashing on and off white, so we need to get it adopted within our UniFi network application. So I'm going to pop that up on my phone, and you'll be able to see that somewhere on screen. Within the UniFi network app on my iPhone, we could see that a new device have been found, and that is the U7 Mesh. So we're going to press setup. And it's going to be adopting this device, and then we'll do some firmware upgrades if it does need it. But let's go back to the computer, and then we're going to look at a couple more of the specs. I'm now on my UniFi network application, and you could see that the U7 Mesh is up to date. So we could go ahead and we could click on it. From here, we're going to be able to see a couple different things. We could see where it's connected to, which is on my ECS switch, and it is uplinked at 2.5 gigabit per second. For our 2.4, it is 2x2 Wi-Fi 7, and for our 5 gigahertz, it's also 2x2 Wi-Fi 7. This AP does not support 6 gigahertz, which may be a deal breaker for you. We'll take a look at the air view in a second, but we could also see our most active clients, and we could see our TX rates, as well as our IP addresses, our MAC address, and the device version. If we go over and we look at our insights, it's going to tell us some key metrics. We're going to see active client distribution, and then we'll see how much we have for interference on our 2.4 and our 5 gigahertz. I could also click on the settings wheel. We could give this a different name if we'd like. And then we have our radio information. So we have an indoor radio, or if we're going to be using it outdoor. Applies AP broadcasting policies required by your country's compliance regulations for 5 gigahertz outdoor. Then we also have our different settings for our 2.4 for our channel width and transmit power, and then our 5 gigahertz. If we look down below, we could see our different meshing options. So we have a mesh parent, which when enabled, this AP will be available to mesh downlink child APs to the network. Then we have Mesh Connect. When enabled, this AP will be able to connect to an uplink parent AP. We also have our IP settings, and then we have all of our management settings. Over on the air view, we're going to be able to see our 2 different bands. So our 2.4 and our 5 gigahertz, we'll see what channel width they're on and which channel, and also the power, and a bunch of different statistics, so average interference, so on and so forth. If we click on channel AI view, this is going to show us what channels we are on, and we could also optimize this. So I'm going to click on the 2.4 and we're going to go to optimize because I've added a third access point to my environment. The optimization has been completed and says based on your current interference and usage, Channel AI recommends applying the following optimizations. So the downstairs AP will go to channel 11, my U7 Pro XG, which is in the middle of my house, will go to channel 6, and this U7 Mesh will go to channel 1. We're going to apply those changes. We're going to do the same thing on the 5 gigahertz. We're going to press optimize. Each one of the APs are going to switch channels. So our downstairs AP will go to 100, our middle AP will go to 149, and the new U7 Mesh will go to channel 44, and we'll apply those changes. Something new within the UniFi network application, and not really to do with the U7 Mesh, is this connectivity tab, and then we could see the roaming visual. So you could see where my iPhone roamed. It roamed from the U7 Pro XG to downstairs, and it went to a couple different places. This is really going to help you troubleshoot issues. You could see that we have these localhost failed connections, and we could see WPA authentication. We'd also look at the roaming visual, which isn't going to show much because we've only had 2 APs in this for a long time. Let's now do a speed test, and I'm going to be using the Wi-Fi Man app on my phone. You can see the spectrum that I'm using is the 5 gigahertz, and we're on channel width of 80 megahertz. And the standard is Wi-Fi 7, and our signal strength is really good. So let's start the speed test. And we are getting 776 megabits per second down, and we're getting 770 up. My internet speed is 3 gig by 3 gig. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to unplug the U7 Mesh, and I'm going to power it with a PoE injector and see what type of speeds we get with meshing. The U7 Mesh is now plugged in direct just to the power of a PoE injector. You'd see right on the screen here that we have our U7 Mesh and the uplink is meshing, and the parent device is my U7 Pro XG wall. And we could also see the signal strength that it's getting, which is minus 54 dBm. If we go over to our settings and we scroll down, if we want to choose the uplink priority, we could do that. We could say that we want this to connect to my downstairs AP. Well, the U7 Pro XG, that is closer to it, so that's what we're going to use. Let's now try a speed test using Wi-Fi Man. You could see that I'm connected to the U7 Mesh, and we're using all the same things. So the same speed test server, and we could see the different bands that it's on. So let's press start speed test. And we were getting 128 megabits per second down and 198 up. I was expecting speeds to be a little bit quicker, but it all depends on your environment. The AP that I'm meshing to is 1 floor down, and it's going through a bunch of different materials. And that's going to be it for my video on the U7 Mesh, and I do love the form factor of this AP. I will start using these as my go-to outdoor access point as we deployed a ton of the U6 Mesh. It does get a little warm to the touch, so just be aware of that. The one downfall is it doesn't have 6 gigahertz, and we're going to have to do some more extensive testing for our meshing setups, especially at longer distances, to see what type of throughput we get. If you have any questions about the U7 Mesh, leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you're new here, please subscribe and hit the bell icon. All right, thanks.